Our first review of the day is going to be Black Adam. And we might do a little bit of a spoiler talk. Well, I mean, do you want to do a spoiler talk tomorrow?
What is there really to spoil with
Yeah,
Black Adam that hasn't already been spoiled by The Rock?
yeah, there's really not much to spoil. I mean, there's a mid-credit scene. There's only one singer, and it's a mid-credit scene. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but yeah, I mean, there's really not much to spoil.
Just look up The Rock's interview. He'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, because he wants people to see this movie bad. I mean, he's been promoting this movie hard. Yeah.
He it feels desperate because League of Super Pets didn't do so well.
Yeah, so I mean, he's out there pimping this movie as hard as he can. So you have the movie Black Adam, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And this movie he announced that he was Black Adam all the way back in 2006 or 2007. So he's been cast in this role for over a decade. So, I guess it gives hope to somebody like Channing Tatum, who got cast as Gambit. Like, maybe he's going to actually be Gambit one day. You never know. So, yeah, it's actually kind of impressive that The Rock has been famous and that successful for that long that they can still go to him to headline the movie. That's actually kind of impressive, in a way. At least I think so. And his stardom has kind of grown. And then by the time, like, I think around that time, he was doing Race to Witch Mountain. He was doing that movie, I think, around that time.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in the Disney Channel family film phase. He was doing stuff like that, like the Tooth Fairy. A lot of those direct. What was the other one? The Game Plan, the one where it's like he's a dad.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he was kind of in that phase of his career at that time. That's when he still had hair. He still had hair all the way back then, actually.
Back when he still had hair and he was still built like a normal human being.
Yeah,
very athletic human being, but still normal.
Yeah, he was the pebble back then. Now, you know what I mean. He's he's the mountain basically. So you have him as the titular character of Black Adam, and the movie starts off like showing the history of Conduct. This fictional country. It shows kind of all the way back 5,000 years ago. And it basically, if you know kind of Black Adam, and if you've seen the Shazam movie also, it's basically the same kind of setup here if you've seen Shazam, where you have this person who gets bestowed these powers from these different magicians who, Jimon Hansu makes an appearance here, who was also in Shazam. He was also one of the magicians that gifted the powers to Billy Batson in Shazam. He shows up and makes an appearance here and gifts the powers, and allows The Rock to become Black Adam. And you see that he gets summoned back again from a character. Her name is Adriana, who's played by Sarah Saheen, who I know she was in Persons of Interest. She was in that show, who I'm a big fan of Persons of Interest, and I was a big fan of her in that show. Absolutely loved her, and she kind of shows up here. And I kind of dig the vibe a little bit of the movie at the start of it, being about kind of, this kind of imperialist colonizer force, kind of taking this country, because you see it fast forwards to present day, even though some of the dialogue is really on the nose, like the kid who kind of Black Adam pals around with, you see him on a skateboard, and he basically just lays out all the things that's happening, you know what I mean? It's like, you're an imperialist force in a country, and you're doing this. It's like, they kind of, a lot of that is kind of really clunky.
Yeah, that kid is basically, what if you took Freddie Freeman, who was played by Jack Dylan Grazer in Shazam, and just made him terrible in both acting and dialogue?
And usually kind of a movie starting off, because there's like a lot of narration at the beginning of it, which kind of, to me, was like a signal that they were like, this probably doesn't make a lot of sense, and we got to add something to it because people might not get it. That kind of strikes me as a little bit of that. But I kind of like that, a little bit of like, you see kind of, this imperialist force in this country, and it kind of brings up some real world issues and kind of adds a little bit of depth to the movie. That's kind of there, but they don't really, I don't think, follow through with it. And we'll get into it a little bit more as we continue in our review. So yeah, so you kind of have them, and you see that the character, when they're kind of spelunking, kind of doing adventures, discovering and to basically find this crown, and it's like this MacGuffin type thing of this crown, the magic item that can do these things, these superpowers, whatever. The character Sarah Sahim plays, she awakens Black Adam, and if you know him from the comics, he's kind of shifted. He was mainly just a villain, but he's kind of shifted more to being an anti-hero, almost like a Namor figure for Marvel now, where he's all about just kind of protecting his country and his kind of people, and so he's kind of shifted there a little bit. And you do see him mess some people up. I mean, you know what I mean, in this movie, and you do see him kind of wreck some people, but the whole anti-hero angle that they're really trying to portray, it's like, I mean, it's hard because I get that he's killing people, but these are really bad people. I mean, these are basically, you know what I mean? These are imperialists, so it's like hard to feel any kind of sympathy for him. What were kind of some of your thoughts on the movie?
I mean, I think the movie starts off fairly strong. I like the background history that we do get into Kondak. And I think for as much shit as I give The Rock for just playing The Rock in every movie, he is kind of stretching himself a little bit, playing a tiny bit of a darker character. It's just the screenplay doesn't allow him to really dive deep into that. It's like 5 minutes after he awakens and is murdered hundreds of CGI extras, he's like right away going into quipping, which does not fit this character.
Yeah. Because The Rock is one of the most charismatic people I think in Hollywood.
Mhm.
You can see why he's become the success that he's become. Even in something like, and this is the same director who was with him with Jungle Cruise, and I like Jungle Cruise, and I liked a lot of part because hey, I thought The Rock had a lot of great, him and Emily Blunt had a lot of great chemistry, and he's very, he's a leading man, and you can see why. I mean, to play a character who is very stoic, but can also deliver a lot of charm with that and seriousness with it. I mean, obviously, The Rock has the physical imposing factor. I mean, just because of his physicality with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, that's a huge part of why he was cast in this role. It's because yeah, he looks like an actual mountain.
yeah, but in terms of like you said, of like you are kind of weakening and kneecapping The Rock when you take away one of his biggest strengths, and that is his smile, his charm. I mean, that's kind of one of the main things that people like about him as a person. And obviously, you knew that. I mean, that's kind of some of the things that we were coming into this movie, looking at the trailer, and him playing this Black Adam character. It's like we know he's not really going to be a full out villain because it's The Rock. I mean, he's got an image, and he's very protective of his image. And even to the point, like there was the whole thing when he was in Fast and Furious, and he can't even like he didn't even want to lose a fight in that. Like he had to like have
Yeah,
it come
he
to a
had it.
draw.
Yeah, he had it. He had it written in the contract that every fight scene, I cannot lose.
Yeah. So you kind of get that sense here a little bit with the JSA, who's kind of an opposing force to Black Adam in the movie, who kind of come when he's summoned, and and when I looked at the trailer, I was like, I'm excited to see the JSA, especially with this type of budget. I've seen them on the small
And
scale, like live,
and
yeah.
and just with this cast, I mean, Aldous Hodge as Hawkman, you have Noah Centineo as Atom Smasher, Quintessa Swindell as Cyclone, and of course the absolute best character in the movie, Pierce Brosnan as Doctor Fate.
Yeah, who I think we both figured that Pierce Brosnan's Doctor Fate would be our kind of maybe favorite character coming into this. And you do have and I kind of like that it kind of throws you into a situation where the JSA is already kind of assembled. And even though they try to do it both ways, where you don't really know a lot about these characters, and you do have the two newer characters like Noah Centineo, who's playing Atom Smasher, and Contessa, who's playing Cyclone. They're the brand new kind of fresh faced rookies to introduce you to the more grizzled veterans and Hawkman and Doctor Fate, and Aldous Hodge's Hawkman, who is the leader of the team. So I kind of, in a way, kind of like that because you don't have to do all these different setup movies to set up all these different characters to make it a team. It's like, okay, hey, let's drop you into a world. You already know people with powers exist, and here's a case of a team of people with powers that operate. How did you kind of did you think that you got a good sense of them as characters in the movie The JSA?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the at least with Hawkman and Doctor Fate, you absolutely get a sense of their long-standing friendship, how long they've been superheroing, and the wisdom that they pass on to Atom Smasher and Cyclone is really good. They're the best parts about this movie because they actually feel like characters and they're not trying to sell their tequila brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I think they're okay for the most part. I think that with Hawkman Aldous Hodge, and I was excited to see Aldous Hodge as Hawkman because I'm a fan of his. I've been a fan of his when he was on Leverage. I really liked him, and it seemed like his career is really progressing more and more, and I'm happy for the guy. Him kind of coming in, he's really one of the main people really against Black Adam because his whole thing is not killing. You know what I mean? And it's like, don't kill people. We don't kill people. Even though it kind of rings hollow in this DC universe, given the fact that your three main big heroes have all killed people. Superman's killed people. Batman's killed people. Wonder Woman has killed people.
I mean, let's be honest. Superman has caused like 8 9/11s in this universe.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like it kind of rings kind of hollow a little bit of like, yeah, we don't kill
It's
people.
almost as if it's almost as if there's no singular creative vision that people like guiding this entire universe. Oh wait, there isn't.
I mean, yeah, so I was just, yeah, I thought that was a little weird. And did you think that Aldous Hodge was kind of like pitching his voice a little bit, like he was trying to make it sound deeper a little bit?
You know what? Now that you mention it, it does kind of. I,
Like,
I always just thought that's what his voice sounded like. Just trying to remember his performances in One Night in Miami and Invisible Man.
yeah, it just sounded like he kind of more tried to deepen his voice because, like, when he's talking to like the Rock, when he's talking to him as Black Adam, it was just kind of like, hey man, we don't do that killing, man. Like, man, come on, you gotta stop that, man. Like, I was just kind of like, sounds like he's putting on a
It
voice.
it kind of gets a little bit too one note for my taste because you have an actor in The Rock who has his ego and doesn't want to lose a fight on screen, and you have a, an actor like Aldous Hodge who, let's face it, on any given day is acting circles around The Rock.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was just kind of like, man, at least let Hawkman get in one good hit. Like, at least let him get in one good hit. I was like, damn, he getting it. Especially there was that one scene in the apartment where it was just like, it was just embarrassing. It was like, come on, man, at least let him get in. At least try to get in one good hit. It just he was just tossing them all around.
Yeah, but the best thing is just Pierce Brosnan's Kent Nelson. He's just, I'm staying out of this. Y'all work this shit out by yourselves.
Yeah, and that's the reason I like Pierce Brosnan as Doctor Fate because he was like the really grizzled veteran of like, yeah, listen, I'm making sense. Like you can do all that stuff and that's fine, but yeah, like I'm trying to make a little bit more sense here. So I really did like that. I think he even has the best comedic moments in the movie too. And when it kind of comes to this movie, and when they try to do the comedic moments, of course they do the classic thing of pairing a kid up with a hero, and to try to, of course that's going to bring out the softer side of the bad guy or the more stern stoic person and everything like that. Did you kind of like the relationship between the kid and Black Adam, or?
I think on paper it could have worked, but this actor is giving The Rock nothing to work with.
Blaming the kid, huh?
Yeah. Hey, if you suck in a movie, I don't care who you are, man, woman, they, them, man, adult or child. I'll criticize the shit out of you if you suck in a movie. And that kid is just doing nothing for me. And that kid is Bodia Sabongui as Amon Tomas.
Yeah, I just thought. I mean, that whole thing. It just like it was so generic in the way it was, like the whole thing of like you got to get a catchphrase and you got to say a catchphrase and everything like that. I thought that was just so kind of overdone and kind of generic. And there wasn't really, I don't think, a lot of chemistry there between him and the kid. And usually, I mean, I think The Rock, I mean, typically, I think he's good with kid actors. Typically, I mean, if you've seen, like, we talked about his past of being in things like Tooth Fairy and things like that. Like, I think he kind of sometimes can work well with kids. I just didn't think this was a very good relationship here. What you think about some of the other kind of supporting characters? Like you have Sarah Sahai here. What'd you kind of think about her?
Okay, Sarah Shaw, she's probably one of the better human characters in this because she gets a moment where she calls out the JSA. It's like, yes, you did nothing while Intergang was terrorizing our country, but Black Adam shows up and now all of a sudden you want to help.
Hmm.
And I thought that was a really fascinating scene that I kind of wish they explored that dynamic more. But again, this is a big beat 'em up action movie, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I liked her. I think she was one of the better parts, along with Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate. I thought she was kind of one of the best things in it, as well. Like I said, I did like that scene of her talking to Hawkman and JSA about that, about like, yes, finally, Conduct now has a hero, has a champion to defend us against this force. And the whole stuff with the JSA about the especially, I mean, mainly just this Hawkman talking about the not killing thing. Really, it's just mainly him. Um, it just kind of feels. You remember when we did that review for Jupiter Ascending? You remember that?
Oh fuck! I don't think I was there for Jupiter's. Oh, was it Jupiter's Legacy, that fucking Netflix superhero
Oh,
show?
Jupiter's Legacy. That's what it was. Yeah. Sorry, Jupiter's Legacy. And that whole, like, one of the main kind of moral things. And if people don't remember that show, I get it. That show was really forgettable and terrible. But
That show fucking sucked.
yeah, but one of the things about that show was you had the main character in Josh Duhamel, who whole thing was you don't kill, never kill. It's like, you know what I mean? Why? It's like, so you tell me even in a situation where people are killing other people, I can't kill them. It's like, no, you can't do that. But why? Why is that bad? I don't, because killing's bad. That's why. There you go. It's like in
Yeah, and there's no real moral line that's drawn here because we're supposed to like Black Adam. We're not supposed to have any kind of questions of morality with him because it's The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, and they don't even address, like, maybe if they try to bring in maybe the damage that he's causing, like, is it worth the risk of having this person here who, yes, he's getting rid of all these bad people, but maybe is it worth all this damage that he's causing? Maybe if you tried to have a little bit of that there mixed with it too, but you have this where the people are praising him and liking him. They're not scared of him. They love what he's doing. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't get anti-hero real vibes here
Yeah,
from him
it's
as
like
Black Adam.
he's only an anti-hero because the movie is telling us he is an anti-hero. Everything that he does is, I don't know, dude, you're pretty much a superhero.
Yeah. So yeah, and so, but the larger kind of moral questions that the movie tries to bring up about, what I mean, of with the JSA kind of coming in here, it kind of falls flat. And it feels like something that, you know, like Hawkman saying, like, there's a heroes and there are villains. It's like that's such a black and white way to look at things. Like, why would you, like, what, like that's
it,
so
it and it
yeah.
and it's kind of just very counterintuitive to what we know about Kent Nelson and Carter Hall in this version because they've established that they have been heroes for a long time. That this kind of black and white way of looking at things doesn't work, even in even specifically just in this universe, where again you have Superman who caused like 18 9/11s in his first time out, and Batman who's basically become a serial killer.
Yeah. Um, and when you bring up like a lot of kind of the action of the series, and you will get a lot of action. It is a lot of action. I mean, almost like I want to say every third scene there's an action scene in here. When Black Adam kind of shows up, and even when they kind of got nothing else, they got, well, let's just have them punch each other. Let's just have them just do
Let's
something
just
like,
blow some shit up.
yeah, it's like, well, when all this fails, we got really nothing. Let's just do another action scene. Let's just do that. How did you think the action looked in the movie?
Oh, the action looks fairly solid. At least the hand-to-hand fighting and all the stuff with Black Adam when he's going mo- through hundreds of different goons. All of that looks spectacular. Where it kind of falls apart is like towards the third act where they start relying way, way, way more on like half-rendered CGI. That feels like, well, we need to come up with an ending for this movie.
Yeah, I think the CGI of it. Now as you talk about that, I thought it's just a lot of buckets and buckets of CGI. A lot of CGI. It sometimes DC will make movies, superhero movies. It's like this would have been probably the best superhero movie if this came out in 2007. If this came out in 2009 or something like that, that this maybe this would have maybe blown. Maybe you know what I mean. This would have been great to me, because maybe that you just don't see a lot of them
Yeah,
at that.
yeah, it probably would have fallen into like that blade category where it's really fun. It is kind of dated though.
Yeah. Now it's just like we've been exposed to so much of this now, that it's just like it just feels like it. You know, this movie is kind of frozen in the time period when The Rock got announced as Black Adam all the way back in '07 or '06, '07. So it kind of feels like that a little bit. When it comes to, not to say that there aren't some impressive stuff, like I think when the JSA have their action scenes like Cyclone, I think the stuff they kind of show her powers where she can kind of make whirlwinds and things like that. I think that looked kind of nice. I thought that looked pretty good. I thought Atom Smasher kind of coming in with his power. His power is, his whole thing is able to get incredibly huge and like 6 stories and everything like that. I thought that was kind of nice. Doctor Fate kind of showing off his powers. Even though now that we've, it's a shame that Doctor Strange came first. So a lot of people go like, oh, but it's like, oh, this is what Doctor Strange does. It's like, no, but Doctor Fate can do this, and he can, he's also really cool on his own and everything, and he can do a lot of good things. And so I kind of liked some of the stuff they kind of did there, even though I didn't like the whole slow mo speed up kind of thing. I was like, I thought we left that back in like the 2010s. I was like, I don't know why we're still doing that.
This entire cinematic universe was originally conceived and heavily, even still, heavily influenced by Zack Snyder, and I guess we can never get away from it.
Yeah, I mean, did you kind of like that? The whole kind of like the slow mo speed up type stuff. I was like, why are we doing this with the?
No, I'm huge. I'm not a fan of that at all. It's just kind of lame. It feels like you're just trying to tell me how cool and badass this is instead of just, let your action speak for itself.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I thought that was kind of just annoying to kind of see that throughout the movie, that kind of done there. When he was kind of fighting the faceless goons there, Black Adam, I thought some of that stuff was kind of funny. I mean, him just grabbing people, tossing them up in the air, and just letting them drop. I thought that was kind of funny. Some of the stuff they did there, and then him kind of just shooting the lightning. I thought that was pretty good too. Some stuff that Doctor Fate does, where he kind of multiplies himself, and you know what I mean, and uses kind of different spells. I thought looked nice. It looked pretty good. What do you think are some of the weakest points for you here?
Well, I think the script is fairly weak. All the dialogue that is given, um, the action towards the third act is very mid. Even the villain in this, who we didn't even bring up because he's not in any of the trailers, but it's
He's in one of them.
Marwan. It's Marwan Kenzari who plays the villain in this. He was Jafar in the Aladdin remake, and he is given nothing. He is just he is bordering on mustache twirly, and he gets a turn towards the third act. I was just okay. I guess we needed to find an ending for this.
Yeah, because it almost feels like the movie's wrapping up, and they were like, "Oh shit, right? We got to have something else kind of going. Fuck it."
Yeah, we need something big for Black Adam to punch so we can end the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, because it was like, yeah, the movie was kind of wrapping up, and they were like, oh shit, right? Well, we could do something else real quick. Let's throw something else in here really fast. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was kind of disappointing. And like you said, that CGI towards the end when they do, the other main villain in this movie, I was like, that does
Yeah,
look.
it's like film Twitter is giving Marvel shit, but they're letting this shit slide.
Yeah. I.
Fuck off.
I thought that looked. Yeah, I thought that looked kind of pretty bad. Um.
And it's a film that feels more like it's just marketing for other things because Dwayne Johnson has been singing the bells for like almost a decade of trying to get him and Superman in the same movie, and it feels like it's just building up towards that instead of actually trying to tell Adam's story.
Yeah. Um. I mean, maybe if you kind of just focused more on maybe Black Adam instead of bringing in the JSA, and I know it's based off of comic run they did where the Black Adam did, face off, was with the JSA at one point. It is based off a comic run there, but maybe if you kind of had something else there, to kind of maybe introduce the character, maybe introduced him in a Shazam movie, maybe like he was supposed to be introduced, maybe it would have been better parlayed into his own film, maybe.
Yeah, but hey, remember, The Rock can't lose a fight on screen.
Yeah.
So him versus Shazam, yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. Maybe it can end in a draw. Maybe if you do something like that, possibly. So yeah, I think the biggest issues with this movie, script, I think is very weak, and just kind of felt like it's like fly by night, type situation. I think that a lot of the action it's okay. I think it's overdone in a lot of sense. Like I said, the slow mo speed up stuff, I was just like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of tired. Some of it, I thought some of the stuff they did was interesting. Some of the stuff they did, like I said, Dr. Fate and Cyclone looked good, and some of the action scenes with JSA. I thought the third act was pretty terrible. I thought the majority of the third act was bad. And it's funny that we've been talking about this movie and we've kind of not mentioned how good or bad The Rock is with Black Adam. I just think he's just there for me mostly.
Exactly. The only time The Rock has ever like contributed to a film acting wise was probably 2013 with Pain and Gain. That was probably the last time and probably the only time and I can remember where I even remember him being good.
Yeah. And again, I just don't think this really character kind of fits him and fits his strengths the best. I mean, physically, I mean, it's there, but I don't think anything else really.
Yeah, he's asked a lot from this character in this film because he gets a couple monologues like towards the end of the second act, and I'm sorry, The Rock just doesn't have the acting chops to give these scenes weight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think he does. Yeah. So for me, I would give it maybe like a stream it, like a low stream it, maybe middle of the road kind of stream it, maybe. What about for you?
Me, I think the action in this is really cool. All the stuff with the JSA is really fun. Even The Rock in some scenes, when he is like playing stoic Black Adam, I think he's fine. But when he's ever asked to give something or do something dramatic, he just kind of falls flat on his face. This third act is pretty terrible. By the end of it, it was just such a avalanche of CGI nonsense. I was kind of just checking my watch and like ready to go home at that point. But just for the action alone, I'd probably say this is probably a tune out for me. Shit is blowing up nonstop on the screen, and I'm bored.
Damn.
It's just so much action, you just become numb to it after a certain point.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, because it's just like, I mean, especially people are punching each other and hitting each other. There's no blood. There's really no consequence of people knocking each other against cars or through buildings or any of this stuff. It's like it's kind of hard to get invested there. I mean, when it's kind of seems like it's no consequence, and the power is there of like how they're defined. It's like Hawkman. It's like, I guess it depends on, I don't even know like the origin. I mean, it depends on which comic run you're talking about because there's different origins of Hawkman, of like he's an alien, or then it's like the situation where he's just reincarnated, and things like that.
In this film, he's just chilling out at the X Mansion. I mean, the Carter Hall estate.
I mean, he's just like a really, really rich guy who's got, you know what I mean, armor and wings, and he's got a mace and everything like that. Which, I mean, he has some drip. I mean, the outfit looked pretty cool. He got some good drip. Good wings and helmet. And everything.
You want to talk about drip? Talk about Pierce Brosnan whenever he's like not in the Fate outfit.
Yeah, he looks pretty good too. Yeah, he looks really good. Yeah.
No, there's a reason that this man is James Bond to a lot of people, especially like the millennials.
Yeah, I mean, he was good too. Like I said, I think Pierce Brosnan, Sarah Sahai's character is also really great. If I had to say a third character, I I don't know. I guess maybe Hawkman. I guess was also really good. I think Aldous Hodge. I think did pretty decent. Yeah. What did you think about the two rookie men? Did you like those like Cyclone and Adam? You thought they were
I
fine?
thought they were fine. Yeah, they were just fine. They're not given much to do besides just show up in a couple action scenes.
Yeah, yeah, just be kind of the two young people of the group and kind of have maybe a romantic connection a little bit, flirt a little bit. That's kind of it. Yeah. I mean, it's basically what I thought it'd be from the trailers. Looking at the trailers, like, yeah, this is basically what I thought it'd be. Yeah. So that was Black Adam. All right. Did you want to talk about the mid credit scene? Or
Yay, Superman's back, and it's Henry Cavill.
yeah.
Yay.
Which
Hopefully gets a writer and director that actually knows how to write Superman.
Yeah, and also they didn't do a really good job because well, The Rock has been talking about it, and they also announced that Man of Steel 2 is coming. So you can kind of correlate. I mean, you can kind of put those two things together. Yeah, even if you hadn't heard the news there, because it's like it's one of the worst kept secrets since they said that the other Spider-Man weren't going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. It's like, come on now. Yeah, but shout out to James Gunn's wife. She showed up. Shout out to her. She was yeah.
Yeah, she was like the one cameo I was legitimately happy because yay, the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker are canon in this world.
Yeah, so I was like, "Oh, cool! Yeah, that's pretty awesome." Yeah, and she was looking cool too, all black and everything like that. She was looking pretty cool too. So yeah, and then you had Viola Davis as Amanda Waller come back, and I've always loved Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. I always thought she was really great. And it seems like she operates both as like I guess she's the Nick Fury of this world, like connecting all the superheroes. I guess instead of
I mean,
more.
that's essentially her role in the comic anyway. She kind of just is the connecting tissue between everybody, but she is mostly an antagonist for the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, so she's there. It's not even that exciting of a mid credit scene either. Really, it's not really that. I don't know. It's like it should have been Shazam, but of course, I mean it should have been Shazam, but whatever.
It needed to be Shazam, but The Rock ain't gonna let that happen.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, like only A-list superheroes I get to be with. You know what I mean? Like I want the A-list people, because The Rock is an A-list actor. So yeah. I guess the next DC movie is what Shazam 2, right? That's the next one, right? Shazam 2.
Yeah, which got delayed to March, I think.
Yeah, and then after that is Aquaman 2. So yeah. But at least Black Adam's not the worst superhero movie of the year. I mean, it's still Morbius.
Yeah, that is true.
Still
Yeah,
Morbius.
that title belongs. Yeah, the reigning champ in that title is Morbius, of course.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, it's like as much as I'm dogging on the movie, it didn't piss me off the way Morbius did, or Uncharted, or Jurassic World did.
yeah. Like I wouldn't put Black Adam on my worst of list. I wouldn't do that.
Oh hell no!
No, I wouldn't do that. Do you think it's better than Love and Thunder?
I had more fun with Love and Thunder.
I don't know. I'd say somebody asked me which is better. I don't know. I guess I don't know. Maybe flip a coin. I guess for me. Like, I don't know. Yeah.